Oh yeah, it goes right in. Hey guys, welcome back for another video. So I'm back in the shop again today. Time to start a new project. So this one I'm really excited about. So go back in history a little bit here. So when I built this shop several years ago, I knew I was gonna want to be able to suspend things from the ceiling. So what I did is I've had two anchor points. There's a hole up there, and then as you can see, there's a hook there. So I've always had these two hooks to be able to lift things from. And what I've used up till now is I've got this old block and tackle that is like a 3 to 5 to 1, I guess, block and tackle. And that's worked fine, but obviously it's manual, and if you're lifting something heavy, you've got to tug on that rope pretty hard. And I've always intended to go to some kind of electric hoist, but I've just never, I guess made the time to do it, but now is the time. So I'm going to move away from the block and tackle, and I'm going to upgrade to this electric hoist. So I picked up this Champion hoist. As you can see, it's rated up to 880 pounds. This particular hoist is from Menards, but it's got a Champion sticker on it, obviously, but you can buy these things. I've seen them all over the place. And it looks to me like these things are probably all the same. They're probably all made in the same factory in China, and they just paint them different colors and slap different stickers on them. But for what it is, I've been actually pretty impressed. I've just played with it on the bench here, and I thought it'd be a really noisy, motor, but it's actually pretty quiet. So, I think for what it is, I think it'll be okay. So I've got the hoist. I've got a 10-foot section of strut channel here. And if you're not familiar with this stuff, this is all over above the ceiling in commercial buildings. And they hang that from the ceiling, or they bolt it up above, and then they hang all sorts of things. It might be a lot of trays for cabling, plumbing stuff gets hung from this, maybe some electrical too. But this strut channel is used all over inside commercial buildings. And this stuff is pretty strong. I believe it's 12 gauge. And I just looked up some specs for this, and I'm gonna support it every 3 feet, or just under 3 feet is my plan. And by doing that, I think it's rated for somewhere in the neighborhood of like 12 or 1,500 pounds or something like that, which is more than plenty for what I'm gonna be doing here. So I've got that. I've got some special brackets that the strut channel is going to sit in, and I picked up these trolleys, which is kind of what really makes this system work. So I just got these off of Amazon, and I looked at a lot of different ways to kind of rig this up and engineer it, but this is by far the easiest way. These are made specifically for this application, and as you can see, they just bolt right to the top of your hoist, so it's really easy. Those things are way overrated for what I need. I think they're rated at, these with the 3 axles on them are rated somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2,000 pounds, and I'll have 2 of them on there. So that's way more capacity than I'll need. And then the way this is built, so my loft up here, this floor system is all built with I-joists. So I've got these 16-inch I-joists going across here. And in this area where I've got these 2 anchor points, I actually have 2 I-joists doubled up. And again, I did that because I knew I was going to want to be able to support things from the ceiling. So up inside that, between the floor and the ceiling, are these I-joists, and they're spaced about a 1/2 inch, so I can get a bolt between them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go upstairs and drill through. I also got 3/4 inch tongue and groove plywood glued and screwed to these I-joists. So I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to drill holes up through the floor in the loft, and then I'll have to get some matching holes down here in the drywall, obviously. I've got 1/4 inch, 4 inch, 1/4 inch plate, so I'm going to cut some 4x4 by 1/4 inch plates. They're going to go up in the loft on the floor. I'm going to drill a hole in the center. I'm going to have a chunk of this all thread go through there, and then I'll weld a bolt onto the all thread. That's what it will hang from. The all thread will come to the ceiling. It will go through these brackets with the bolt, and then the channel will run through those brackets, and then I can get the hoist mounted in there. So I'll have 10 foot of throw from side to side with this thing, which I think will be kind of handy for, you know, it'll just be handy, obviously. So first step is I've got to get some holes lined up. I've already got some marks upstairs where I'm planning to drill holes. I need to get those lined up with down here, so I don't just have random holes all over my ceiling. And then I'll have to work on, well, I'll get some plates cut, get some holes drilled. This all thread will have to be cut to length, and just some miscellaneous stuff. So anyway, let's mark out some holes and start this thing. All right, so I got my top plates for up in the attic. Rod will go through. Then I'll probably throw a bead of welder on there just to lock that in good and tight. I thought about welding the, nah, I probably won't. I'll just weld to the rod, call it good. And that'll sit through the floor upstairs just like that. All right, so up here, what I've done, I snapped a line, obviously, as you can see. So right here, you probably can't see that very good on camera, but this is where that first anchor point is, and then over here, kind of underneath the camera, is where that second anchor point. So what I did when I built these originally is I did the same thing. I've got all thread going down through a plate, but I actually took the time to kind of cut out the OSB and recessed it in there so it's completely covered, which has been really nice. These won't be quite that nice, but whatever. So in order to find the exact center of those two eye joists, I just lined up the existing anchor points and snapped a line, which is what you see there. And I've already drilled some smaller holes just to make sure I could get good and centered on my line. Drill these all out to 1/2 inch, and then it'll be time to go and make some marks on the ceiling and make some holes downstairs. All right, Ready to take these plates up there, drop them through, and see if we hit the holes. All right, so I got all 4 of those poked through. My holes lined up perfectly, so I'm happy about that. Now what I need to do, I mentioned before that these brackets, so these brackets will actually go on here like this. And that's how it'll hang from the ceiling. And again, I have to do that so I've got room for hardware here. So my all thread will come through the top of this bracket, and I've got to have room for that bolt and nut combo. So that's why I have to use these brackets. So what I've done now is these are 2-foot pieces that I bought, so obviously too long. So I've already done this. I've held these up here. I've made myself a little mark on there with a Sharpie. So now I've got to go up and I'll pull those plates back out. I'll cut those off, and then I can drop them back into the hole for good and work on getting the track actually mounted to the ceiling. All right, so I got those cut to length and dropped back through. I left about an inch and a quarter or so. So we've kind of pre-assembled these because this is all going to have to go up at once. So hopefully this won't be too bad. Got our brackets on. We'll grab a washer and a nut and lift this up to the ceiling and see if everything lines up like it's supposed to. Stick these at least in the neighborhood. You know, this wouldn't be so bad if these were regular nuts, but the fact that they're lock nuts is going to make this a really painstaking process to get them tightened down. Oh no, it won't. We'll tighten it from upstairs. We'll get a wrench on here and. That's good because I almost welded the nuts to the plates. I'm glad I didn't. This shouldn't be so hard. It definitely is. Got it. All right, this is a lot harder than it looks. There's not a lot of room to get fat fingers up in here. And I would show you a close-up on camera, but it's all I can do to even get these things started without messing with the camera, so. All right. Now, here, let me grab the camera and I'll show you exactly what this whole situation looks like. All right, so this is what this looks like up close. So trying to get your fingers in here to get this whole situation started was not easy. So now what I'm going to do is I'll get this thing kind of slid left to right. That's probably pretty much where it's going to live, actually. And we'll get a wrench on here, and then I'll send my son up in the attic, and I'll with a ratchet, and he can tighten these babies up. And then I've got to get my cross bolt hardware through here, and that'll pinch this clamp to keep this track from moving around. But we're really close now. All right, that's probably good. All right, so we got those all tightened down. The only thing that I don't have, so I need to get 3/8 bolts. You see this cross bolt that comes through here, and that squeezes this bracket down so that it holds the track tight. I happen to have one of these, but I need to get 3 more of those. So it's, but even just with that one on there, I really can't very easily move that track. So it's good enough to at least get it mounted. All right, so it's time to get these trolleys mounted on here. And these bolts, yeah, I think they're gonna be okay. They're just barely long enough, but no, they're plenty long. So these things have a lot of slop in them because the slots in these trolleys are pretty big. So I'll just go I don't know, I guess I'm just going to eyeball center these. And then I'll have to actually throw it in the track, and if I have one out of alignment, I can just adjust it. I can put a straight edge on here. Oh, that's not even close. Whew. Question is, which one is actually straight? I might have to actually put this thing in the track and tighten it up there. I don't know. Maybe I can use a straight edge. You know what? These things are not. Oh, man. So these, neither one of them. These trolley wheels are not welded. This plate is not welded straight onto that plate. Nice. But luckily, I've got enough adjustment here that I can get everything lined up straight, but that's kind of a joke. All right, I think I got that pretty straight. Check, make sure they didn't move. All right, I think we're good. So time to hoist this thing up there and get it into position. All right, so just a quick update. I actually remembered that I did actually have a stash of some hardware. So I got my bolts through there, so I've got the track completely secured now. And the other thing that I did, I drilled a 1/4-inch hole on the end of each track here, because I got to thinking I need a way to, you know, stop the trolley from rolling off the end. So I got a hole drilled on each side. Actually, I got on this side over here, I stuck a 1/4-inch bolt in there, so that'll be my stop to keep it from rolling out. And I think that's it. It's time to throw this thing up there and see how well it moves. Oh yeah, it goes right in. Wow, that thing rolls nice. That thing might actually roll too easy. Oh, look at it. I don't know if that's on camera. Is that on camera? Yeah, it's actually... Okay, so apparently I have a low spot in the ceiling here. And it's just rolling on its own. Okay, that thing rolls really smooth. So definitely a good thing I put stops on the ends. And I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of a braking system. Well, I don't know. I guess once I put some weight on there, is that thing gonna roll that easy, or will it slow it down? I have a feeling it's probably always gonna roll really easy. So I want it to be able to be, you know, movable, but I don't know that I want it to roll that easy. I may have to, I wonder if maybe if I go back and take one of those trolleys and actually turn it just like, you know, a degree or so, so they're not perfectly lined up like I have them, so I get just a little bit of rolling resistance, because I don't think I want it to move that easy. But for now, it's up there. Let's give it a shot, see what it does. I've got to figure out a cord situation too. I think I know what I'm going to do with that. So you can see I mentioned it's really pretty quiet. I'm surprised how quiet it is. And I went ahead and doubled it back on itself, which is what you need to do to get to the 880-pound rating. So that's good. I have no issues with that. And it goes pretty high too. I'll have to see. I'll have to compare it to the old block and tackle and see. But I'm pretty sure that thing gets that it gets higher off the ground than my old system, which is nice because I sometimes wanted to be able to get higher. So at this point, I think we are ready to test this thing. I'll have to decide if I'm going to take that down and tweak one of those trolleys. I may actually lift something with some weight first and just see if it still rolls, you know, with that little resistance. I think it probably will, and I'll probably want to adjust it, but it looks pretty good. So far, so good. All right, guys, it's time to test this thing. So I was looking around to figure out what I could put some weight, and I decided I might as well just go for it. So this is a 360 Kawasaki Prairie. I think it's like in the 500-pound range, probably dry, so fluids and everything, it's, I don't know. We're probably a little over 500 pounds, between 500 and 600 pounds. So this will be an interesting test to see, first of all, how easy it lifts it. I don't know if my riggings are going to be very good. It might not. I don't know where the center of gravity is in this thing. And I also want to check. I'm curious to see when I do this how much deflection I get. Because again, we're hanging this off of just I-joist here, so it's not like we're hanging off a steel beam. So right here, let's just say right next to the ladder, 116 inches, 116 and an eighth. I'll probably forget that, but 1/16 and 1/8. So I guess there's nothing to do but to do it. I'm gonna break a fender. Hold on, I gotta reset. I don't want this little test to break off my exhaust or a fender. Well, there you go. Fully suspended. 1/16 and 1/8. Okay, I'm really curious. Look at that. It's 1/16 and an 1/8, maybe 3/32. I mean, it didn't do anything. Maybe at the very most, a 1/16 of an inch at, you know, between 500 and 600 pounds. That I'm happy with. It lifted it no problem. So, cool. Okay, now the other question is rolling resistance. Ah, look at that. I've got some weight on it. Now it doesn't move near as easy. You can move it, which is good. But it's reasonably stays put, so that's good. Okay, well that tells me that maybe I don't want to mess with those trolleys. I don't know yet. Something still tells me I might want to tweak. I mean, this is probably max weight that I would ever be lifting. So I think I'll have to play with it and just put a couple 100 pounds on there and see how easy it moves. I still think I may end up tweaking one of those trolleys just a little bit out of, you know, put a degree or so on it, just to keep it from moving so smoothly, so easily. But you know what? I think we've got a winner here. So cool. Well, that is it. I'm gonna leave it right where it's at. I'll go ahead and get my 1/4 inch bump stop set up on that end. The only thing I have to do yet is figure out a cord situation. And what I'm going to do is get probably like a 5 or 6 foot cord. I've got a garage door opener plug in the ceiling here. So I'm just going to run a short extension cord over here to the middle somewhere. And then I'll just attach it to the ceiling. And then this has a 5 foot cord on it. So it'll be able to go from, you know, from left to right, either direction, off of that cord for the full 10 foot stretch across the track. So it looks good. I'm happy with the results. I think it'll make my life a lot easier. Oh, and I should say too, when this was all the way up, I measured, compared to my old block and tackle, I can get about at least 6 inches and I think about 7 inches closer to the ceiling than I could in that old setup, just because on that block and tackle, you know, the closer each end comes together, the rope starts to kind of wad up on itself, so you can't get very high. So I can get more height with the setup too, which is awesome. So that's good. I'm really happy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.